This computer. There we go. So, welcome to you all. Thank you for joining this pre-departure briefing with me, Millie Whitehead, to get you all organised for your trip in July. So, what is the aim of today? Well, the aim is to get you fully briefed and organised and expectations all aligned. So by the end of this chat, you feel really confident in what's coming, what to pack, have you got all the right paperwork in order, etc., etc. So I am going to be touching on these things, okay? First of all, your flights, admin, airport admin, then the leadership team, then health and safety, everyone's favorite, then kit, what to pack, how much money to take, staying in contact, and at the end, what the experience is going to look like. Okay, so bear with me, team. Okay, it is information heavy. You can drift off. I won't blame you. And you will be sent the recording in case you forget anything. Okay, so to start with, I am Millie. I'm one of the co-founders of The Leap. I set it up with my husband 20 odd years ago. And together with my team, Zoe and Tanya, who I know have been sending you a squillion billion emails, we are getting you organized and prepped for this trip. We know and I can only apologize to you parents that it is admin heavy, okay? Email frenzies coming from Leap HQ. So bear with us. It every time we think we've got it in order, then the Safari guy says, "No, we need this now." And I'm like, "Oh, sweet Jesus." So just thank you for just raising an eyebrow, no doubt, and then patiently sending us the right information. We really appreciate that. So, your flights, well, your team, okay? So, there are 12 of you right now booked on to the trip, which is a great, great number. And I would expect by the time you go, there'll be anything, there'll probably be about 14, 15, which is fabulous, okay? Plenty of space to spread about, plenty, a great, it would be what we want is a good team social experience. So, you've got that. Meeting at the airport. Okay, so I know you're flying with Air Ethiopia. Everyone might be raising an eyebrow, going, why did they choose Air Ethiopia? Well, I'll tell you why. I fly with them all the time because they are great. And from a safety point of view, they are the only airline which is going to get you into Mombasa in daylight hours. And that is critical. Okay. So, yes, you're going to have to go through Addis Airport. Yes, it's a rather basic airport, but it's easy and you leave and depart in the daylight hours. So that is why we do it. Okay, but the airline, the planes, they're as good as BA, they're as good as Kenya Airways. So you'll be fine. So what we want is you to meet at Heathrow 3 hours before you go. We will be sending this in a pre-departure email, so with the exact details when we know where the gates are and the terminals and everything. So we're thinking, so you can kind of get it into your head, about 3 hours before. We want you to check in online beforehand, and then you're going to hand over to the gorgeous Miranda, who is going to be the chaperone for your particular trip. She is a great friend of mine. She's a teacher at Marlborough College. She's fun, she's fantastic, and you're going to love her. So she is going to be your kind of mum on the trip, okay? But she's a groovy mum, let me tell you. She's not a kind of, uptight, scary mum. She's fun. And she's going to be there in the background because as soon as you arrive in Kenya, you're going to be handed over and in the hands of the three J's. That's Janet, Juma, and Joseph, who are your three Leap guides. Well, Oceans Alive guides. They are awesome. Okay, they are Kenyan. They've been running our trips now for about, well, Joseph for about 5 years. Juma, my God, he's been there for about 10. And Janet, well, we persuaded her in the last 2 years that she's going to become a firm fixture. So you're just going to love them. They're the face of all the activities and everything on the ground. So Miranda is there in the background, making sure that you are happy and healthy and keeping an eye on things, but delivering the pace and all the projects are the three J's. Okay, so that's what the leadership team looks like on the ground. And then the layer up for parents is Des and Tilda, who are who they're kind of my age, and they set up Oceans Alive, kind of 15 years ago. They're old Kenyans. They are great family friends, and they run a fantastic ship. And I will talk about the whole experience at Oceans Alive later, but they're there in the background, making sure that everything is going according to plan. Okay, so that's the leadership team. Now, any questions on that? Airport, leadership team? Good, good, good. Right. Before I move on, your visas. Okay. Now I know I've just filled in my visa for myself and nearly cried at the whole process. It is long, laborious, and you need the patience of a saint. Okay, so I feel your pain. Now, Tans has sent you a some of our top tips that we experienced from me doing it. So just go through it and get it. Okay, you're in the right time frame now to be able to get your visa. Um, Right, moving on to health and safety. Turgid, but got to be done. First thing on my little list is health and safety is your insurance. Make sure everybody's got the insurance and the AMREF insurance where Tan sent you that link, which is $10. Okay. Uber, it's so cheap and they are just so good to have. And I'll explain why in a minute. Injections, I hope you're cracking on with your injections. The main ones that I would like you to have are the waterborne diseases, which are typhoid and Hep A. Okay, that's what I always think is really good, a kind of basic injections to have. Make sure your tetanus is up to date. Now, some of your doctors might be saying, oh, you need chlorinated Hep B, you need yellow fever. That is all personal, okay? None of it is officially required, but you might like to, that it is up to you. And I can't say definitely have it or not, okay? But the risk is low. That's all I can say. Malaria. Now it is a low risk malaria area where you're going, but of course you're going to the Kenyan coast. It is about. Okay, so we highly recommend that you take malaria pills. Now, the ones that most people take are Malarone or a version of Malarone. That's kind of one pill a day. You start at about 3 or 4 days before you go, and you continue taking it until 3 or 4 days after you get back. But your doctor will give you the right prescription. Now, one thing I want you to all be very mindful of with malaria, with these particular pills, is if you are feeling odd, okay, not quite yourself, day 2, day 3, day 4, I want you to go to Miranda or any of the three J's and tell them, not quite feeling it. Okay, now they can make you feel a bit low. They can give you a dodgy tummy and make you feel nauseous and give you diarrhea. Okay, so if you are, I don't want you to suffer. It will be the malaria pills, and together we will make a decision whether it's best to come off them, and then you really up your game with spraying up and putting all your your jungle juice on yourself. And but we'll make that decision together. Okay. But I just want you to be mindful that I do not want you to suffer alone and that, coming off it, if you come off them, sometimes you can spring back literally within 24 hours. So it becomes a kind of toss up between ruining the whole experience or taking the malaria pills when it is low risk. Okay, but we'll make it together. Little first aid medication bag. Okay, if you're on medication, we clearly want to know, and we can help if anything needs to be refrigerated. That's easy. But in your little medication bag, what would be really good is to have a few plasters, a few compeeds in case you get a blister, maybe kind of some paracetamol and Nurofen. We've got that in our first aid bag, but just in case. And most importantly, I would like you all to take some rehydration salts. Now you can get them from any good supermarket. They come in a long round tube. Typical brands are the VOS, VOS, and various other brands. And what I want you to do is every day you pop one in your water bottle in the morning and one in your water bottle in the evening. Mums, try and get the caffeine-free ones. You don't need that. But that is just really um, good practice to take at least two a day because you are going to be working and messing about in the heat. You're going to be sweating a lot, and dehydration is one of the biggest things that I worry about actually. And dehydration can kind of look like it can make you feel achy, can make you feel a bit fluey, can make your joints feel a bit, this is just to kind of look out for, just like, oh, I'm not feeling myself. It can give you dehydration, it could give you diarrhea, and it could give you a headache. So what we want to do is prevent it from even entering the system so that we know what's working. Is it, if you are feeling off, is it malaria pills? Is it dehydration? Is it just a general cold? So that's just really helpful. Two a day, team. One in the morning, one in the evening. So mums, pack them enough. Okay. Scaling up problems. Okay. This is kind of mums. This is what would happen on the ground. Okay. So if you were to get a sore throat, right, you would go to Miranda or one of the three J's and say, I've got a sore throat. Right, fine. What have we got in our medical bag? Okay. Oh no, it might look infected. We're going to whiz you straight to the Vibingo clinic. They are awesome, 24 hours, 7, open, doctors there all the time, sort you out. Okay. If only we had something similar here. In fact, I often save up my ailments and go there, just as a matter of, precaution. They're brilliant for anything dehydration. If you've got a cut, need a couple of stitches, got your ears blocked. I had my ears kind of syringed last time I was there because of water got stuck down them. Yeah, they're just fab. Okay. If they can't deal with it, say you have fallen over and you've broken your leg. Okay, God forbid. Trust me, we haven't had this in 30 years of working, but let's just play the game. 30 years, you've broken your legs. You'd go to the Pingo clinic, you'd get stabilized, and then you'd get whizzed, driven down by ambulance or with Des and Tilda to Mombasa Hospital. Okay? Say Mombasa Hospital can't deal with whatever is wrong. That is when we would call AMREF. Okay, that's when that extra $10 insurance comes into being, and we call the flying doctors. They come and pick you up and they fly you to Nairobi. Okay, and of course, you'll be with one of the J's escorting you. Okay, so that is how it works. When you're on safari, again, exactly the same thing. You've got first aid in every vehicle. Chris and Janine are wilderness first aid trained, so they can really deal with everything fast and furious. The camps are no more than 2 hours away from Voi, where you've got a fantastic hospital, and about half an hour from an airstrip to get the AMREF to take you to Mombasa. Okay, so that is health and safety. Oh, food issues. Okay. Any food, dietary requirements, I know we've got them, but you're to tell us and we can deal with pretty much everything. Okay. And the last but not least, which is I know on everyone's minds, well, it's on parents' minds, is the news of the Ebola outbreak. Okay, we say it really quietly because it's not actually going to affect us, but we are managing it. I just want you to know that we have, we take advice from the Foreign Office in the UK and also the British Embassy in Nairobi. So Des and Tilda are very well connected, and so we're on it, we're listening, and if the threat was too great, say it blew up. Okay, this is what would happen. Air Ethiopia would credit your flights and then we can move them to another date, and we would put on loads more dates for the next year. The money that we could get back, obviously, we would give you back, but the only money we can't get back is the flights and the safari. And again, the safari, that would be credited up and moved to a different date. So that is how it would work. But it's not going to be an issue. So no one give it a second thought. Leave that to me to worry about. Okay? So, but that is what would happen. Okay, any questions on health and safety? All good? Okay, I promise we're coming to the fun bit soon. I know, these are the really turgid bits. Okay, now we're moving on to kit, what to pack and how much money to take. Okay, kit. I am going to be sending you an itinerary, an updated itinerary with a revised kit list, okay, at the end. But it is all existing on our website, so you can crack on with it. You don't need anything fancy, all right? But what you do need, which is utterly essential, is the UV top. And we want the top, don't make the mistake that I did. When you bend over, the top rides up and then you get sunburnt above your shorts or your bikini bottoms. I know it's a rookie error. We all do it, including myself. So make sure the UV top is long enough to go over your backside, okay? Because you're going to be snorkeling in that where, legs down, body horizontal on the water, doing all the coral gardening, and the sun is right on your back. So you want to have it covered. So UV top, really good reef shoes. Make sure that, they're quite sturdy around the edges. So the sole goes round the edge so that they're sturdy. You want to slide off the edges, and a snorkel and mask. Okay, try and buy cheap, buy twice. A really good brand is the Cressy brand, Cressi, and you get that on Amazon. That's a good brand to get. But if you're not good at snorkeling, it doesn't matter. You'll soon get good at it. Okay? But make sure it fits. If you're whipping one out that you've had stored away in the garage, just make sure it works because there's nothing worse than a leaky mask. Okay, so that is essential. The other stuff that you need for the day, shorts, t-shirts. In the evenings, you really need long trousers and long shirts to cover up to keep the mosquitoes out. Girls, the best thing that you can take are those trousers that Aspiga sell them, another brand, Hoboko. They're really thin cotton, like harem trousers with the elasticated ankle. They're brilliant because the mosquitoes can't fly up then. They're really, really good. So boys, you wouldn't look so good in those. So just a pair of long trousers or shorts, it doesn't matter. But in your first aid little bag, you've got some really strong malaria squirty stuff. And I know it's not eco, but it's really good, is the I said it earlier, the tropical one. What was it called? Oh God. It's the really hardcore one
Is
you
it
see.
jungle juice?
Jungle juice, that's the one. Thank you, the jungle juice. And while I'm at it, suntan lotion, please can you make sure that the suntan lotion is reef friendly? Now, don't overthink this, okay? Because I know that Sultan do a reef friendly one. and I'll get Zoe to put in an email in our little list who else does it. Okay? Right. That is the kit. Flying out, I want you to wear your Leap t-shirt so we can identify you at the airport. Um, and on safari, you will need a long pair of trousers, similar, a bit thicker. You probably only need one pair of trousers or leggings or tracky bums that you're going to wear in the on the plane and on the 2 night safari because the temperature can drop at night. And one hoodie. Hats, water bottle, essential. Essential. Okay?
What can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What type of hat? Sort of a wide floppy or
Well, if I said a wide hoppy with a brim at the back, no one's going to wear it because
no?
they'll feel really kind of sad. But so wear a hat that you like, okay? And the aim is just to keep the heat off the top of your head, okay? It just really helps with, the dehydration. But you've got to like your hat, so you wear it. I've sent my kids on many a trip with hats that they think they look really sad and it's a waste of time. Money, okay. Now, you've got 2 meals out. You've got to, and tips is really, really important, and money for souvenirs. Now, if you're not a big spender, 130 quid will do you. If you know that you love to buy a souvenir or two and a few bracelets and maybe a sarong and you can't help yourself, take 150 quid's worth of Kenyan shillings, already converted into Kenyan shillings, because there isn't a cash point near where you go. Okay, and at the airport will just be too much. There is an opportunity to get more cash out. So I'd like you to take a one card. So when you go on your Dow trip, if you run out of cash, you can easily get more out. But just as a rule of thumb, keep it life simple, 150 quid's worth in Kenyan shillings. Okay. Any questions on money? Nope. Okay. Next one. So we move, last bit of dull bit before we move on to the experience. Staying in contact. Okay. Now there is Wi-Fi in at the coast and while you're on safari. Okay. But the Wi-Fi is good enough to send the kind of WhatsApp, send a few Snapchats, but it's not good enough for downloading YouTube clips and anything kind of more than that. Okay. So I am going to recommend that you don't get a local SIM card when you arrive because this is me being really mean and old-fashioned, but I would really like you not to be on your phones during the day when you're out and about. Yes, you take your phones for, taking photos, but actually you're not kind of looking at it. So you're looking out and not looking down. There's plenty of time first thing in the morning, at lunch, and in the evening to access Wi-Fi, to, make contact. But other than that, looking out. Parents, if there was a problem, okay, we're going to know about it. I'm going to know about it really, really quickly, and I'd be in contact with you. On departure, you're going to be getting our emergency telephone, which comes straight through to me or to Zoe, and but that's just for emergencies only. But it's hardly ever used, touch wood. But that is how it would work. Okay. So staying in contact, rule of thumb, no news is good news. Any questions on that? Taking your telephones, quite good practice to have a waterproof cover. If any of you've got a GoPro, an underwater GoPro, really good to take, but only if you've got one hanging around and you know how to use it. Do not go out buying anything fancy like that. And that's it. Okay, so that is That is all the boring admin. Now, any questions on the boring admin? Ta-da! No, okay, now we're just going to, just bear with me. I just want to go and describe the experience that you've all signed up for, just to remind you of what's coming. Okay, so yes, you're going to Kenya, of course. You're going to the Kenya coast and you're going on safari. So you've got the contrast of the beach and the bush. I mean, it is perfect. But this is not you going on holiday. No, no, no. This is you going to experience and work with the glorious Oceans Alive. Oceans Alive, set up by Dales and Tilda Bowden, oh, kind of 15 plus years ago. And they are one of the main leaders in marine conservation. And their whole their whole essence, their business model for conservation is now being copied into 30 different places up and down the East African coast. So you are really entering something very, very special and experiencing the something that actually works, which in nowadays, is not that common. So you're not just going to volunteer and paint an odd wall here, there, and everywhere. You're actually contributing to something which is successful because of people like yourselves actually doing the jobs. So when you get there, your first kind of 6 days at the beach is going to be a combination of learning about Oceans Alive and contributing to their projects. And that contribution is going to take place in the water. You're going to be building and coral gardening. And that means you're going to be building new reef structures. You're going to be collecting lots of little bits of broken alive coral, attaching them to plugs and planting them out. You're going to be cleaning coral plugs that I planted when I was out there 3 months ago and maybe replanting that out. And you're going to see beaches where you're going to swim into areas where the coral is dead, and you're going to be swimming into this conservation site where the coral is vibrant, vibrant coral, vibrant fish, vibrant octopuses. You're just going to be blown away with what you're going to see. Okay, so that is just one element. But to be able to do that, to have a conservation area where it is not overfished and not overkicked and frolicked and ruined by tourists, means that the fishermen who rely on fishing for their food and income are not allowed in there for 6 months of year. Okay? But what are you going to do about it? Well, Oceans Alive and yourselves are helping by creating their permaculture gardens. And you'll see out of cement sacks are now wonderful gardens creating fruit and vegetables, which they can now sell at the market. You're also going to be helping build Geco stoves in the coastal communities and yet more houses. So the fish they do get from the market, they can now fry so it lasts longer. I'm not going to bore you with the details of the Geco stove, but just it basically works on the same principle of an Aga. It's intense heat, so now they can fry. But yep, you're going to be building more. And I really hope that you're going to be building at least 6 while you're out there. And that is changing the lives of 6 families. And you'll see how that works when you're out there. You're also going to be delivering water to families, to the ill, to the elderly, to those that can't reach the wells. When I was out there, we met these 2 kids, probably 7 and 8, 2 brothers with a wheelbarrow, and was just like, yeah, where are you off to? And they're like, we're going to collect water. They live an hour away. Okay. So it is going to be very insightful. At times, you're going to be like, wow, humbled, moved. You're going to be feeling all these emotions as you enter. You have the privilege of entering a real community. And in return for entering their community and giving contributing to their lives, you're going to be gifted a chance to you be invited into their church service. Get ready for that. That is not a normal church service. It is a fast, it's a festival. You're going to be invited to go and meet the acrobats. You're going to be invited in for cups of tea into their houses. You're going to be welcomed in. And let me tell you, above everything else of this trip, That is the main gift that I can give you. That is, many people can go on holiday to Kenya, anyone can do it, but actually to be invited in to meet the families, hear their stories, what are their challenges? What is Oceans Alive doing to help? What are you doing to help Oceans Alive deliver that? You feel something very, very special, very rewarding, and this type of experience moving forward, you will be calling upon. I was just talking to somebody this morning who is now 24, just finishing university. He went to Oceans Alive on his gap year with us during COVID, and he was telling me that he is now using his experience at Oceans Alive on his CV because he wants to go into sustainability. So this is a very special experience in your whole education, in your whole development. It is just, it's going to be fun and full of adventure and everything else, but clock what you're doing. Okay. So, yes, interwoven into all those projects, there is the adventure. You're going to go on a dhow. You're going to have sundowners. You're going to be dancing with the acrobats. You're going to be doing loads of fun, gorgeous things. And at the end, you're going to be treated to 2 days on safari. And on that safari, you're going to be going with the gorgeous Janine and Chris, who are old-time safari guides, but let me tell you, they bring it to life. They bring the little guys on the plains to life. It's not just about the big elephants, of which you're going to see many, because Savo is famous for its elephants. You're going to be staying in two lodges. The first one is Ungatuni, then you're moving to the second one is Taita Hills. Now, Ungatuni is one of my favorites. It's kind of, I when you arrive, you're just gonna be blown away with what you immediately see. I'm not going to tell you what that is. Don't want to ruin the surprise, but that's awesome. And then you're going to move to Taita Hills. Now, Taita Hills isn't as glamorous as Ungatuni, but at the same time, it's got the swimming pool that you need because during the day it's very hot and you just need to be able to be chilled. And it's got a really interesting information center about all the interesting people on in Savo who are working with the conservation. Savo is famous for its elephants. And you should read about it if you've got time to read about Daphne Sheldrick and the trust and what they've done for the elephants. It is amazing. So it is a, you're going to see them all, families and families, cruising on through. So at the end, I know going back to your flight, at the end of your itinerary, you've got to get up very, very early from Taita Hills to get back for your very early flight to Addis, and you've got a very long layover. Now, I know that is a miserable flight, but you've got to brace yourself because we saved each family about 400 quid by having that long layover. Okay, the flights with what they are at the moment are expensive. So that long layover, it cost, save 400 quid. So maybe you can ask your parents that actually while you're there, you can go and have a nice burger and chips in one of the cafes. Okay, right at the back, but I'll be telling Miranda about this. Right at the back of Addis, there are long beds they're not beds, they're plastic chairs, but they're flat beds, so you can have a lie down. Okay, and kill time. So that is all I wanted to tell you. Does that sound that so are you all excited about this experience coming along? It is a wowzer experience. This is not your normal experience, and I'm really hoping when you come home, you're just like, "Yep, she was right. That was good." I'm chuffed with that because I'm extremely proud of this program, and I know the opportunity is I hate using that word life changing. I really do, but it actually you'll feel a bit different when you come home. If nothing else, mums, they'll feel really appreciative of the fact that they've got running water, electricity on tap, and Wi-Fi whenever they want it. So there we go. Okay, so any questions on the experience? Yes.
Um, I just wondered what you think about whether they should take anything out as a gift for the people that they're going to be seeing or staying with.
Yes, yes. Sorry, I thought yes. What we'd really like you to take out is because we're going to build a Leap library and we're going to start it this season. We don't know where it's going to be yet. I think it's going to be at the Acrobat Centre, which is in the heart of the community. So we'd like you to take a couple of books, reading books, up to the age of 11. Biff and Chip. If you've got any of those lurking around, they're perfect. Something simple that you could read with the kids when you're there at the school.
Okay. And so is that it's a learning library? Because I was going to ask what sort of a. I obviously hadn't read that bit about the Leap Library.
Yeah, it's a learning library, but it's just yeah, parents can come and get books out for their kids. Some of the kids can't afford to go to school. So it's predominantly for them, and it will be for you guys to help read to the kids. So yes, a learning library as opposed to well, if you've got a Harry Potter that's lurking, there might be kids who can read and would love that. But the Biff and Chip, teaching them how to read would be really good.
Dr. Zeus springs to mind.
Yes, any of those favorites.
And is that it? Just books. So don't
Yeah,
take anything else at
yeah,
all.
nothing else because we've got two school groups going this summer and they have got so many donations.
Okay.
Oh, I tell you what is always good is a football.
Yeah, I was thinking football's probably a really good idea.
Yeah, because you are going to have a football match one evening against the local team. So, and they always pop. So, yes, if you flat pressed a football.
Okay.
But if you've got something at home and you think,
Yeah.
oh God, that would be really good, and there's room in the bag, pop it in the bag.
Okay. Something for kids.
Always for kids.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Because there's a big divide, those that have and those that don't, even in the community. You need something like $10 a month to buy the school uniform to send them to school, and some people don't even have that. So we're really in the community working for those kids. Okie dokes. Right. That's it. I'm sure there's stuff that I've forgotten to tell you, but if there has, we've got plenty of time for us to send you 100 more emails. Just what you need. Okay, so you know
Brilliant.
where we are. We're here to help get you organized, and I wish you a fantastic adventure.
Thank you.
Bye to you all.
Bye bye.
Bye bye bye.
Thank you. Bye now. Thanks.